Hi, class. Hope all of you are doing well. Thank you for your practice persuasive speeches, and hope all of you had a wonderful break. I would like to first tell you that all your practice persuasive speeches have been graded, and you should be able to now see your grades on in your grade book. And those of you who submitted, resubmitted, and maybe submitted for the first time, not sure about that, but there were a lot of resubmissions that I had requested you to do that, go over the assignment and resubmit all the persuasive speech topics that you read. Could be sports, could be health, politics. You reviewed all of the topics and you gave me a need associated with the topic. Some of you found Abrams Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and we could say that safety, it's self-actualization. A lot of safety came up actually, and some of you, if there were some difficulties and you could not find Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you also mentioned not there in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So, but I did see the resubmissions, which is wonderful that you attempted it, and you've received your grade. So moving on, I would like to tell you a few things. I have looked at your practice persuasive speech, and I have made a few changes. So if you go to your, just going to do a quick screen share here. 1 second. Yep, I'm already here. So if you go to your Go React, and this is your class, yes, and you go to practice informative speech, you click that, and you'll see that, I'm sorry, not practice informative, practice persuasive speech. You'll see that I have provided you my comments. Again, my comments are, okay, so this one came in late, so I did not get a chance to comment on the last one that came in. But I did it, I think I did it yesterday, and till yesterday, did it the first thing in the morning. I went ahead and got your practice persuasive speeches graded. So the grades are already in, and you've received comment or feedback from me. So this is what I will be telling you in terms of your feedback. A few things, all right? Then this applies to everybody. And when you are doing your speech, again, please don't sit down and read off your notes. It's not going to work. And I have told you my reasons. I'm going to again tell you why. I don't mind repeating myself, but you need to have your note cards. Some of you did that. You need to have your note cards ready with you. Note cards should look something like this. Average index cards that you get from dollar store, anywhere. Have your note cards, be in a standing position. Just to give you an idea, I am in this room. You can see the end of the wall here. That's about 6 feet away from the camera. The camera has been kept at an elevated distance of, I mean, it's above the ground. I would probably say it's about almost 4 feet above the ground, but that will depend upon you. I'm not a very tall person, so this will work for me. I'm in a sitting position. I may have had to adjust, but just to give you here an idea, I would probably take this out of your view here. I would take this one out, and this is about, I'm 6 feet away from the camera here, and I think that kind of shows me till my feet here, and I would be moving around with my index cards, talking to you, making eye contact, knowing my material, and then looking at my note card only when there's a need. I forget if I need to just remember some points, just the pointers, because at this time you should be so well versed with your practice that, and you guys got a good amount of time to, practice, develop your speech. We've been talking about this, and by this time, and I've given you my feedback, just there isn't a whole lot of changes. There's some few things that you have to tweak here and there. But the most important thing is you need to really, and I'm seeing that as some of you are able to do it, some of you are not able to do this, but you really need to be away from the camera. You don't want to read it off your your laptop or any other place, because that's just against academic integrity. You need to know where your speech very well, and you need to use your index cards to remember. Okay, if you do forget. All right. So that's one of the things. Now this is a very technical thing that I wanted to say, but nevertheless I did want to say this. In terms of vocal modulation, there are some of you I have mentioned to you that you guys need to, even I have I don't talk this way right now. I'm not yelling, but I use this tone, this voice. Even my kids tell me, "Oh, you're using your teacher voice," when I'm teaching, because they have to project my voice. So you are no different. You are actually, because I have an audience, I know that you guys are looking at me and listening to me. So I have to use a kind of voice that I'm not going to use the same kind of voice when I'm probably having a conversation with with family members or friends, or my whole tone is going to be different. But you guys have to have that projection in your voice. So even if you're struggling with, I can't talk that loudly, just practice projecting your voice. All right. And because otherwise the speech, there's a lot of emphasis on delivery skills. And at this time, you're almost there. You just have one more speech. Well, apart from your apart from your persuasive speech, you have one more speech to go, which is the argumentation and debate speech. So by this time, you should be able to, understand how you can use your voice to leverage delivery skills. So amplify your voice and use vocal modulation to provide the right stress, the right emphasis, perhaps pause. Those of you who have mentioned that, if you have a lot of vocalized pauses, I have it all the time. But when I'm doing a speech, I try to kind of frame my mind. And if there is any vocalized pause, this is how I'm going to tell you, and this is how I train myself as well, that usually when we are not comfortable with silence, because that's just uncomfortable sometimes for us while we are talking, why should be, silence is like your ideas are just not flowing, you're like quiet. So we try to somehow, our defense system tries to compensate with that feeling of discomfort by all of that vocalized pauses. So and that could be a little disruptive if once in a while, if it's okay, but if it constantly happens, which I didn't see in any of you a whole lot, but if it does happen, then you got to figure it out, because that silence is fine. Just don't, just be conscious about that. And if you're thinking, and just that silence is better than the vocalized pause. Okay, so think about it this way. All right. In terms of content of the speech, I heard all your topics. All your topics are very good. I mean, I think I mentioned to all of you. And one of the things that you need to do is, I think the overall thing is, first look at the time. All right. If you are going beyond 5 minutes, 30 seconds, you're going to make it shorter. And if your speech is ending at around 2 minutes or 3 minutes, you have to take it to 5 minutes. All right. So that would mean that you have to add more content to it, and practice. You have Go React. You can use that to practice and see whether you are able to, and you can delete it if you want, but you can figure out whether you're using those 5 minutes efficiently. You don't even have to be on Go React. You can also record yourself on your phone and figure it out how you're doing it. So remember, one thing is, when you're doing your persuasive speech this time, when you did your profile speech, you were you were as creative as you were as creative as possible. You had your own narrative, which you owned that narrative because it was a part of your life that you talked about. And so there was a lot of emphasis on the self. All right, it was a self journey, a part of your personal life that you talked about. Even in your informative speech, there was a lot of emphasis. We were making slowly, we were making a shift. But there was this big thing about you living an experiment, you challenging yourself for 14 days and figuring it out, how your whole, how your challenge went, telling us, what worked out, what did not work out. So it was based on if you think about the whole challenge, you took up something based on your own personal needs. And then again, I asked you, so when I hear your speech, will I connect with you? And you said yes, because I don't see sleep deprivation as my personal problem. Only a lot of people are going through. So there was this connection that it started with the self, but then it became about the rest of the world, right? Here, the persuasive speech is about the other. Okay, some of you, and I am not discounting the importance of it at all, because it did add a lot of ethos, authority in your speech when you used your own personal example, which turned out very well. However, remember this, that you are in the persuasive speech, you are coming in as a speaker because you are mediating change. You are a mediator of change. It's more than you can use yourself as a personal example, but more than your personal story, it has to be about the audience, the rest of the world who's watching you. Okay, so and I like the way how you leverage. Some of you did that. You're not required to, but some of you did it very creatively. You leveraged your own personal story and you provided strength to your story. So that worked very well. However, if it's just based on your story, that may not be very appealing for an audience who wants to change because of your speech. The audience wants to get some more from the speaker. So when you talk about yourself, wonderful, but always support it with more and more research, numbers, expert, as I mentioned to you, expert testimony, some people who work in this area, what did they say? Some lay people who've gone through this problem, what did they say? So it has to be an accumulation of different kind of sources, and your source out there will also be helpful. Okay, but this one is, and because I just wanted to mention this because there was so much emphasis on the self through the first two speeches that I just wanted to kind of comfortably take you to a different position now, where if you've talked about the self, wonderful, but you now need to get a lot of research from other people, from other, from research, statistics, research studies, expert testimonies, like people, doctors, what are they saying about this? Lawyers, what are they saying about this? People who've gone through this problem, what are they saying about this? So that all of that will make it a good case, if you will, for the audience to accept your position. All right. So that's another thing that I wanted to mention to you. Anything else? Those of you, I think I also mentioned in terms of organization and structure. Try to organize if you've received comments from me in regards to organization that it wasn't extremely well organized. Just try to see where are the points where it's kind of, the organization is slightly going off, and maybe you need a summarizing transition. You need to transition. Let us know that this is where you're going. Be very clear about, how do you want to influence the mind of the audience, right? So the need part of your speech is immense. Some of you have an action step. Some of you do not have an action step in the conclusion. So you may want to have an action step to kind of solidify the whole speech. All right. So all right. So these are my comments. Moving on to the next segment, I will talk to you about. Oh yeah, before I talk to you about the next segment, 1 second, class. I have given, as I mentioned to you, I've given you your comments. So work on those comments. Nothing, it should not take you more than maybe an hour to work on this one. And please, post your speech by December 5th, which is Sunday, by 11:59 p.m. Your final persuasive speech. Look at your look at my feedback, work up, maybe add, change few things, and that should, and then go ahead. Remember all my instructions here in terms of content, in terms of placing yourself, in terms of lighting as well. I mean, if you think, I think I forgot to mention this, that lighting has to be, like when I'm recording, I try to open all, most of the time I try to record when it's daytime, but then certain times I record at night. So I always usually have a very simple lamp here. You have just started using a selfie lamp, but actually I just started using, I actually don't need it. This lamp works perfectly. So if you have a lamp that lights up your provides you enough light, then I will be able to see your expression, your hand gestures, and you'll be, it's just not going to focus light just on your head or on one part of your face. It should be very even. So these are things that you can just see, and maybe ask somebody that you see the light, or when you ask somebody to hold the camera and see whether you're actually you're very nicely visible or not. Okay, so all right, so now I did mention to you that this is on the 5th, 11:59 p.m. your final persuasive speech is due. Now we will start prepping for our argumentation and debate speech. This is the final segment of our speech class. So I'm just going to show you something here. I'm going to share screen with you and show you how does the order of things look. Give me a second. Oh, not here, not this one. Showed you another class. Oh, no. Okay, 1 second. Yes. So yeah, I hope you guys can see this. So as you can see, today is December 3rd, and so your final persuasive, you turned in your practice persuasive speech on December 1st, Wednesday, by 11:59 p.m. And I have, those of you who turned it on time, I was able to look at it and give you a grade, give you my feedback. And then okay, so now your next assignment that's coming up, if you've already done your practice persuasive speech, that this needs to be refined based on my comments, and you need to turn it in by December 5th, Sunday, by 11:59 p.m. All right. Next is today I will start talking to you about argumentation and debate. This is the last section. As you can see, it's argumentation and debate. Starts, would have ideally started talking to you by the 6th, but I'm just doing it a little ahead of time, which is okay, which is good, because I don't have to add anything much more for your persuasive speech. So this is a new segment that I'm talking about. You have your argumentation and debate speech. There are two parts to it. There's part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is when you form an argument, all right, and you record it, and you put it on Go React, all right, and then I will listen to your argument. I will actually open it up to everybody, all right, and I will ask you to choose, maybe if there are 10 students in class, then I will make sure that every student gets a counter argument. Okay, so I will ask all of you to review the arguments that you've heard from your classmates, and you need to hear their argument and provide a counter argumentation. So we will do it in steps. I don't want to overwhelm you right now. I will just focus on argumentation, all right? And then we will talk about the part 2, the debate speech part 2 of it. Not now. I just kind of gave you a little bit of a clue, but not now. We can do that later. Keep our minds clear. Just focus on argumentation and counter argumentation, which is the part 2, which I kind of gave you a little bit of trailer. That's going to all that prep is going to start from December 13th onwards. Okay, and then December 17th, your course ends. So all right. So here we go. And there's a final course analysis, which is, I just ask you to review the course. That's also done by December 15th. December 17th is basically your last day in class. So, all right, so I am going to stop this and I am going to share these slides with you. Give me a second. Here we go. What did I do? Nope. Yep. All right. So this, I haven't shared it on your Blackboard side, but I will. Anyways, you have an access. You can always look at it from your YouTube video. This is called Argumentation and Debate. This is what I'm going to be talking to you about today. And yeah, so let me just stop right here. I'll get back, but I'll just start talking to you about argumentation and debate. So this is what you guys need to know is in popular media, the way people talk about argument and debate is almost like, okay, who's one up? People talk about it as, fights that happen, argument and debate is almost like a one up, one down, phenomena, but who's smarter, and that's how the popular media frames it. But I want you to really think about argumentation as a safe place, all right, as a place which is safe, first of all, and at least ideally it should be a very safe place, all right, and where you have contending positions. You have contending positions. It could be two conflicting ideas, or it could be, multiple contending ideas. All right. So, and you have your position, and the other person or other people can have different a position which is going to be different than yours. All right. So you will be looking at a topic in one way, they're probably going to be looking at it from a very opposite way. All right. So let's say, you guys did that assignment where I had so many persuasive speech topics. You can consider any of them, right? Let's say, should education be free for all? Should at least should college education be free for just the first 4 years? Should it be free for all students? And then some, one of you might say yes, and the other person might say no. And there could be some people who can be on the fence. So basically, if you actually think about it, we actually sometimes, when we get so bogged down with, that this is my point of view and this is how this college should be free and you have to accept this, but and the other person says, no, it should not be free, and I'm not going to accept this. We forget, and we try to argue with each other about this, but what we forget is, or we I won't say forget, but what we tend to not do, or kind of not think about, is you are actually not, this is not actually about college education being free or not. It's actually, you're actually with somebody with a contending view, you're actually competing against a different set of beliefs and values. All right. So if you have to change somebody's position, you need to really understand what kind of beliefs and values frame them. All right. And when I talk about beliefs and values, I am actually talking about, let's say, I'll take the first situation. If I'll take the first one here, belief, right? Beliefs, you might have heard, and you may, and again, because you're not here, I would have asked you, but that's okay. When I think about beliefs, is beliefs happens right from the time when we are able to recognize the world. So when the way we look at the world, the pattern, the way the world is framed, that's when it starts happening. So parents have a huge influence. Whoever, parents or caregiver, have a huge influence, because we actually try to look, initially we try to look at the world through their eyes, right? And then we are always fed by the media, we are fed by our parents, are fed by other friends, other people, things that we see, things that we observe, all of that is going on, all right? All the time we are being fed by external sources, all right, if you will. And based on that, we try to understand, or we create a belief system. So what we, through our observations, if something is works out for us, or we see a truth in something, uh, then, and we feel good about it, because if you actually think about it, the brain is always trying to um, find facts or find beliefs that kind of helps to self-preserve the human body. Okay, so if it feels good for us, if it feels that it's valuable to us, then we make it a part of our belief system. And if it doesn't seem good, it um, doesn't makes us feel uncomfortable, then we don't want to make it a part of our belief system. So that's what it's always, belief is a very experiential phenomena, all right? We make things, or we construct a belief system based on the experience that we have, all right? And again, we observe the world through whatever has been thrown to us, through authority, through our parents, as I mentioned, through the media, through our friends, through our families, through our religious institutions, through politics. All of that is being thrown to us, and we try to observe the world through of course through their lens, and then we experience that. And once we experience that, whatever feels good to us, good slash or creates self-preservation, then we make it a part of our belief system. Whatever doesn't feel good, we don't want to make it a part of our belief system. So it's always, beliefs is always situated in the present. And then you have values. Values is something that we aspire towards, all right? So it's always, we want to see a world where where there's peace, all right? We want to see a world where there's love. Love exists, so we value those features, right? Love, family, peace, equality, freedom. All of those are some common values that we have. Now, even values are not fixed. That doesn't mean that the way I look at values, and the way, if you ask me what are my 10 top values, that's probably going to be different than maybe your, let's say somebody from our class, maybe I can't, I don't want to, maybe somebody from our class, right? My values will be slightly different than, maybe there will be, maybe if we run an analysis, and if I do get to ever see you guys and have coffee with you guys, maybe I'll see that yeah, some of our values are same. There's certain things that pretty much is the same, like most of us want to feel loved, or we do value love. Where it comes in priority, that might change, but but we do value love. We value morality. Maybe some of us do, where it's very high up there. Maybe some, for me, it's in the middle level. Family, right? I mean, so all of that, again, we might have some common values, but where the way we prioritize the values might be different. Here, even in a North American context, I'm thinking about you and all of us here. And let's say, and my values are going to be slightly different, because I consider myself as an immigrant woman, first generation immigrant. I was raised in India. I have about 22 years there, and then I came here when my biggest growing up and personality and everything was already shaped, and then I came here. But then I spent a good amount of time here as well. So now with all the influence that I've had, my values are slightly, now when I talk to people, some of my friends who are still living, who did not move out, have their things that has changed in us, the way I look at things, and at least There are certain things that are similar. There's certain things that have taken a bigger priority for me, and they're higher there, which I didn't see, how when I actually 20 years back, I used to prioritize certain values in the top tier, and now it's kind of shifted. So that happens. So again, I just gave you as my example. If somebody was raised in, let's say, in the Kalahari Desert in West Africa, speaking Swahili, knowing one language, Swahili, and living there, his or her values are going to be slightly different than mine, right? Or that's different than yours. They might, I can even say that they might not even look at, not even understand the concept of freedom the way we look at freedom, right? Freedom for us is, for a person who has lived there, freedom can be a very, very different. The way they look at, maybe there is a similar concept, but they are looking at it in a very different way, and they may not be the very high priority for them, because maybe they've never felt enslaved, right? So so that's what the reason that we are getting into this dialogue is because that's what we are thinking. When you think about, why this person is not listening to me, or why should I listen? Because fundamentally, my beliefs and their beliefs, or my beliefs and values, are different than theirs. And what debate does is, ideally, what it does is that it tries to understand a contending position. All right, there is no one up or one down here. The whole reason that a debate exists is to not to even come to a consensus. It's not even that, but at least after a debate, you get to know where the other person is coming from. And that's what it should be. All right. And it's unfortunately, it's never like that. It's always about, my party, my opinion, and this hardly, first of all, you don't come to a consensus, which is fine, but you don't even want to hear where the other person is coming from, and because you're not approaching the debate that way. So then that's because the ego gets involved, and it's like, oh, if I don't say this, this person is actually trying to disrespect me, and all of that comes into the picture. All right. So that's why most moral discussions end in a confusion, and ends in complete chaos, complete failure of dialogue. So so this is why we study about argumentation and debate. And believe me, if I had a whole whole semester with you, I would just do that. I would just talk about argumentation, debate. It's that vast. So within maybe 2 weeks, I will do as much as possible, to give you more than a starting point. And hopefully after you guys do your debates, you will be in a position to understand how to create an argument. How do you, when you have a topic, when you have a topic of your interest, how do you first of all, how do you understand a topic and understand what the argument in the topic is? So what is that claim, right? What is the topic? What is this evidence talking about? What is the conclusion of this evidence? What is the claim in this evidence? Okay, so you'll be, once we talk about different kinds of topics and the kinds of evidence that is given in those topics, of course you'll be able to figure out what the claim in the topic is. Again, I don't want to, we'll have enough practice sessions to go through that. Anyways, now coming to my background as for debate. So I've been judging debates at North Central College here in Naperville, and I've also, of course, done it for our college COD. And so this is how it's, and just to give you an idea, this is how it's done. There are different kinds of debate. Now there is this, you name it, there are 5 or 6 different kinds, the ones that I know. There are several other smaller debates that are, that keep coming up, but there are 6 forms of debate that I know. The one that I have judged judged on are parliamentary form of debate. So I would actually would go to COD or North Central, and I would see like 50 students, sometimes even more. They're all hanging around and they're all very, very enthused about doing the debate. And then I would get into one of the rooms. I won't know the topic. I would be given an envelope by the debate organizer, and I would open the envelope. I would have my debaters in the room, and sometimes there would be some guests. Sometimes not, just me and the debaters. And sometimes I would have another judge. Sometimes it would just be me. But so I would be there, and I would have debaters, and I would have four in a parliamentary form of debate. So basically, somebody who says yes to the motion, the affirmative, saying the ruling party, because it's a parliamentary form of debate, the ruling party and the opposition party. So whatever your topic is, the ruling party would probably they'll say yes to it, and the opposition party would say no to it. So I would actually come inside. I won't have any clue about the topic. So I would open the envelope, then there would be 3 topics there. All right. So my first choice would be to give it to the ruling party. They get their first pick, and they cross out of those 3 topics, they cross out 1 topic. And then they give it to the opposition party. So that's when they have 2 topics, and they discuss and they scratch out the second topic, second or third, whatever. So there's only 1 topic remaining, and that becomes the topic. So that's and that's it. And they also didn't, they didn't prep for this topic. So the only time that they get is right after they know what the topic is. I write it down, I read it out as a judge, and they get 15 minutes is all that they get. 15 minutes, that's it. And then when we come back, and then the debate starts. Okay, so the reason is that they keep practicing. They've been practicing different topics, debatable topics, throughout the year. So that's how they come and they start debating. So here again, this is a new situation for us. We are learning how to do argumentation debate. I gave you a little bit of a picture about how debates are done here and what kind of debates I particularly have judged. So I shared that with you. Now I will kind of give you a good, I think I tried to talk to you about, why beliefs and values are important, what kind of debates are there when people debate in colleges, my expertise in it. And now I will talk to you about, and now I'm going to share the slide. And okay, let me just show this to you. So this is a very simple slide. So you can see that this is argumentation and debate, and this person, his name is Stephen Toulmin. I had a picture of him because I think that's sometimes helpful. So he's a British philosopher. So the whole model of argumentation is called Toulmin's model of argumentation. So of course he has bragging rights. He created the model. So Dr. Stephen Toulmin, what he would do is he would go to several court proceedings. All right. So he would go to courtrooms and just observe how lawyers would argue. And he found that really intriguing and interesting. And what he did is he looked at the way courtroom proceedings are done and how lawyers argue. And of course, when he would observe these proceedings, he also heard a lot of technical jargons and legal jargons. And so he said he took those things out of the way of the model, obviously, and he built a model so that any person, you, me, anyone, okay, could use his model and argue. All right. He said that this is a great skill to have. That's why we are doing this. If you need to, maybe you're arguing with your boss, you're arguing with your partner, you're arguing with your friend, you're trying to make a point, and people don't know how to do that. Okay. So he created this model and said that, no, I've picked this model up from the courtroom, but it doesn't have any technical jargons, legal jargons that any of you should be interested in. But you still get the best essence out of it, because it shows how people create arguments. All right. So now moving on, he created this Toulmin's model of argumentation, and this pretty much has 6 steps. As you can see, there's this data, claim, warrant, backing, modifier, rebuttal. All right, and the first thing is data. Okay, so this is the way you got to think about it, is that whenever you are, and let me give you an, I wish I could do it side by side. I don't think I can do it, but let me just do a new share, and then maybe, yeah, let me do a new share. Yeah, 1 second here. Yeah, do a new share. So you guys did this topic, so you're familiar with all the topics here. Pick any topic. All right, let's say this one. I choose this one. Is the traditional college experience obsolete? All right. So if you have to, let's say you're saying yes. Okay, your position is yes, it is obsolete. Then you will perhaps begin your speech by saying the traditional college experience is completely obsolete. Okay, and that's your claim, because you just said yes to this question that we have, and there's a claim, because this is controversial, because I might say that no, it is not obsolete, and I think it is current, and I think we still get a lot of benefit out of. So it's not dated at all. Maybe there are some things that could be changed, but it is not dated. Okay, that could be my position. But let's say your position is yes, college experiences traditional college experience is completely dated. It's obsolete. Then what you can do is you can start your argument by giving me all the evidence in the world that you can find that proves the traditional college is dated, it's out, it's obsolete. Okay, and then you could begin your speech by saying, yeah, I think that the traditional college experience is obsolete, and these are the reasons why I think. All right, and you're giving me your data or your proof or your evidence. Or you could just start with the data and start telling me all the things that is not being what a college should be. It should be current. It should be responsive to current needs. You can tell me all of that's going on. And said this is, and at the end of your speech, you said these are the reasons why I'm saying that the traditional college experience is completely obsolete. All right. So you can arrive at your claim in the beginning, like, or your thesis statement can start, and then you can, or your claim can start. You can start with your claim and then give me evidence to show why your claim is true, or you can give me your evidence and then tell me why your claim is true. All right. So you can do it in both ways. All right. Now moving on here. So basically, whenever you're giving me the data, that's when, and I could use it interchangeably: data, evidence, proof. These are all that I need to understand why you're saying that college is obsolete. All right. So that's what it is called. So the whole evidence or the proof or data, or sometimes I have mentioned it's also called the ground. All of that leads us to the claim. All right. So this is the evidence. This is that makes us understand why you are or what you're trying to prove. What you're trying to prove is the claim. If you think about it, what are you trying to prove? That's the conclusion of the argument, or you can say it is the conclusion of the argument that the speaker wants you to believe. Almost like a murder mystery. Like if you're watching a thriller, you're watching a murder mystery, right? And then you are given several things that are going on in that murder mystery, where you start thinking, who the killer is. And then at the end of the mystery, before you get to know who the killer is, you've already made a claim, or you already tried to say, oh, I think he or she is the killer because of these things that I saw in the movie. It's similar to that. All right. Now, if you think about it, the data and the claim, right? There has to be a magic, something going on in your mind that will make you take a leap from the evidence or the ground to the claim. All right, that there must be something going on. And that's what we call is a warrant. All right. So remember the murder example that I said, that when you watch this whole murder thriller that you're watching for 2 hours on Netflix, you watch it and it's a thriller. You are thinking that there's 5 or 6 different possibilities of this person or that person, or the third person being a killer. But you come to you make a choice and you say, I think this he and so and so as the killer. All right. And then this is what I'm saying, that there must be certain things that are going on in your mind that will make you take a jump from the data or the evidence to the claim. All right. This is what we call is warrant or reasoning, one of the most important part of an argument. So this is reasoning. Okay, so in your topic, let's say when you say that the traditional schools district, the traditional school system or the college system is obsolete, then you are, and you provide me all the evidence. There's some kind of reasoning that goes on in your mind as the speaker and in the mind of the audience who's listening to you, that will kind of take a leap from the evidence to the claim. And I will be able to either say, if you're that good, that yes, you're right, that is true. Now I do agree with you that the college system is completely out of date. Okay, but sometimes we don't. We don't agree with the person. And the biggest one where some people can really come in and say that I don't believe this is because I've coached debates, that they actually think about your warrant. They don't think that the reasoning is correct. Okay, that you are misled, or you are not, the kind of reasoning that you did is not correct. Okay, so that's it. Every argument will have data, it will have claim, and it will have reasoning. Now Toulmin went into it further, and he said that, since reasoning is so important, I just don't want it to be by itself. Just, I don't want to, that he or she, that Mr. Let's say I call it, Mr. Warrant needs to be supported, and he needs to be supported by Mr. Backing. All right. So he didn't want to keep Warrant the reasoning alone, because he wanted to make sure Dr. Toulmin that the reasoning is completely secure and completely strong. Okay, so the Backing, what it does is it affords it is the support for Warrant. So if you think about Backing, what Backing will do is it's going to ask a question to Warrant, saying that, are you sure? Why do you think people will, why is it that people will think that the school system is, the college system is obsolete? Because students are not getting jobs. That's why the students are not getting, colleges are not preparing them for the jobs that they need to prepare them for. Is this why you're saying that the colleges are obsolete? Do you know what, if you're then it keeps asking us, is that the only reason that you thought about it? There could be so many other good things that schools that colleges are doing. Did you even think about? So it keeps asking questions. All right. If you think about it, it asks questions, and it provides support. Okay. It provides support for Warrant. Modifier, now coming to the fifth one, modifier, what it does, it just it shows the degree of certainty. All right, so it shows that how strong your claim is. So this is a very easy one. You can think about it in this way. It's pretty much a word choice, which shows that you are very sure about your claim. Let's say with utmost certainty, I can say that the colleges in US are completely obsolete. With utmost certainty. The words utmost certainty, which means you're 100%. Let's say you have considered your claim, and you think that maybe your claim is not that strong, so because it has a few things that and that's fine, that can change the outcome. So you said most probably um, colleges are following a syllabus, or are most probably colleges need to update their or because I'm just thinking about it, most probably colleges are obsolete. Okay, so when you're not 100% sure, so most probably kind of shows that you're not 100% sure. So that so the other person, when they're debating, then they can't say that you're talking about all colleges. So if they come back at you and saying that, are you saying this college? Did you think about this college? Did you think about this college? Then he said, no, I did say most probably. All right, that that I'm not 100%, but there are, you know, but more than average, more than 90% of colleges are obsolete. So that's the modifier. And the final one, which is one of my favorite one, is rebuttal. Okay, and rebuttal is basically an exception to a claim. So what happens is with rebuttal, you will say things that will not really support your position. Okay, so these are the situations when a claim may not be true. For example, I can give you an example. I'm actually right now thinking about it. I can give you a simple example. That's an easy one, but I'm trying to give you an example with colleges. But let's say I'm talking about this mouse. I bought this wireless mouse on Amazon Marketplace. I think it's worked out very well for me. I have been using it for the last 5 years. It has not glitched on me. It is cheap. It's about $9. I've been using it for 5 years. I had another mouse that kind of did not work well, and this one is continuing. It runs on very little battery. Battery runs forever. So I think this is the best mouse that Amazon Marketplace has to offer. So that's my claim. All right. Then I say that, well, this is the best mouse, but guys, you know, this mouse doesn't work very well. Will stop working if it is dipped in water. Okay. Or I say that this mouse is not going to work if you roll it over a very hard surface. So you might be thinking, if I'm trying to sell this mouse, why would I say things to make my case weak? I don't think you know, it in that approach. When somebody has a rebuttal, it just shows that you have done really good research and you know some of the you're talking about some of the cons. Okay, so when I actually I'm a conscious buyer, when I try to buy things, I first of all look at tons of reviews, and then I try to see, you know, whether the company has you know, maybe talked about things that it you know, it can do, and there's some things that it cannot do. All right. So, and especially reviews that, let's say if I see a review where it talks about not only the good things, but also things that did not work out. Okay, so I just find I can trust those reviews more. All right, so that's what it does. Now, did I give you some exceptions that's going to be a deal breaker for you? I don't think so. I don't think, what is the possibility that somebody wants to dip this in water? I don't see that. And what is everybody works on a workstation or surface which is kind of flat? What is the possibility that people want to run it over a very, very hard surface? Hard or a very, you know, indented surface? I don't see that. So even though I've given you exceptions to the claim, those are pretty weak, and I don't think a person's position is going to change because of these exceptions. But a person may think that, hey, she or he has done a research, knows the cons very well. So that's exactly what a rebuttal does. So like going back to the college example, which I just got from here, that the college system is obsolete unless, okay, unless it is designed to, can't think about anything right now, but unless it is designed, unless it is designed to yeah, that could be a good one. Unless it is designed to get non-traditional students who are just doing it out of interest, to get non-traditional students back. Okay, so so that could be something that could be a rebuttal. Okay, so